Hey, I'm Michael,
I'm Dave.
and this is Pump the Brake.
Playoff edition.
Playoff edition.
We won a
Playoff
playoff
win
game.
edition.
That's right. Pats are back officially. There's no two ways about it.
We did it. We did the thing. We did the thing that we said we would do. We beat the fucking Chargers.
Yeah, and you put a capstone on an incredible regular season turnaround. And so I think nobody can now deny you of the season that you've had at this point, given the wins, the way the quarterback has played, the home playoff win for the first time in 6 years. I mean, it's undisputed that this is a successful season at this point.
God, that is an incredible thing to hear, right? At this point, we really are just like, take it or leave it with the Texans this week. I will be happy with this season. But you know what would make me even happier with this season?
Winning
If
it
we
all.
beat the Texans. Winning it all.
Yeah. You know,
Obviously.
and
Obviously.
there is a bit of a reconditioning, I think, that this region or fan base has to get into that, like, winning the Super Bowl every year is not like the line of demarcation of a successful season. You know, it got to be because of where Brady was at in his career, and you couldn't miss an opportunity to win, but you're building something here. And so you have to be able to accept that, yeah, it will sting if there is a missed opportunity here. You're always going to look back on this season that the window was open in the AFC and you maybe didn't capitalize.
Well,
Take a long-term perspective on this. You're in a
you
good
know what,
spot.
Dave? I'm going to pump the brakes on this conversation. We haven't lost shit yet. Save it for the episode after we lose.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
If
Fair enough.
if there is one.
Right.
Now, we're coming
Could
off a
be next
goddamn
year.
victory. Let's talk about that victory.
Yeah, I mean, the overarching takeaway to me was that you won a game in a way that you haven't all year. And for it to come at this time and against that quality of opponent is incredibly fortuitous. It's a good sign. It's a green flag going forward. I mean, you won a game where you didn't score 21 points and you lost the turnover battle against a good quarterback, a quarterback who's going to get some MVP votes now that they rank 5. It was not a bad team you played, and you beat them without being able to play your game. So that's my big
That's
takeaway overall.
we played playoff football. We played big boy football. We had a clamp down defense. We ran the ball, and we beat a team even though we made mistakes. Listen, he's the man who got us here. I don't think he's the man who necessarily. I mean, he is the one. He won the game, right? Let's talk about Drake May versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Because,
Yeah,
for me, I don't know if he was the best player. I don't think the offense is what won us this game. Sure, at the end, he got us where we needed to go. And, as a Pats fan, we've seen that historically, right? We've seen Brady finish a team off in the fourth quarter after the defense kept him in it.
yeah, absolutely. It was a bit of a tale of two halves. I mean, and neither half would blow you away per se. The first half, he felt, as May has felt, I think, sometimes starting these games, a little frisky, a little panicky, not like panicky, but a little bit off, a little amped up, and not seeing things as well as once he settled in. In the first half, he's 6 for 15, 95
Yeah,
yards, and an interception. In the second half, 11 for 14, 173 yards and a touchdown. So
that's
he
a Drake
settles
May
in.
stat line.
Yeah, that's more like it. And I think he settled in. The positives were that he was very patient. That Chargers defense, as we talked about last week, it's all about lulling you into forcing the shot play. And he took the profit. He took what was there. He took his checkdowns. He made use of those things. And that helped them sustain drives, eat up some clock, give their defense a blow here and there early in the game.
Yeah, true.
I think there were times where maybe he could have gotten the ball out a little bit quicker against pressure.
Full times.
If I have, if I have one major complaint about Drake May overall at this point, it's that he has to protect the football when under pressure. We've seen it during the regular season. We saw it twice in this game. One of them that could have been truly disastrous. Luckily, Jared Wilson fell on top of it. But in a game
Yeah,
that
that
is
was bad. That was so bad.
a one possession game, and it's going to be the same, in theory this week too. The margin for error is so small against a good defense that like you cannot afford to give the ball away. You have to take sacks and protect the ball. And they've made it, it's clearly a point of emphasis. McDaniels has talked about it this week that he believes it's not going to be a problem this week. They know they have to fix it. And, like all things with Drake May, I give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to correct mistakes. And so, some other things like that ball to Hooper, you have to have that one. You had him open.
Yeah,
The
yeah, that
throw
was
was
bad.
there. It was too high, maybe a little amped up, and he missed him. That's a missed op. It's just you can't have the missed opportunities and the careless mistakes have to be buttoned up, especially going into this week.
But do we have faith in Efton Chisholm being able to, tune his throwing motion?
Oh my God, dude. Listen, I know fans love this shit, and I know everybody wants to be able to go online and say, Drake May caught a touchdown, because you get to rub it in people's face. But I I hate plays that take so long behind the line of scrimmage. And to me, exchanging the ball twice behind the line of scrimmage when the offensive line is getting pushed back, like they flipped that ball from the running back to Chisholm in the teeth of pressure. The line was getting
Yeah,
caved in.
that
That could
was
have been a
crazy.
disaster. I mean, it could have been a disaster. It wasn't the time for it. It was way too early. Put the ball in the hands of the MVP, not try to throw the ball to the MVP. I thought it was a little too cute and it wasn't the right time, but bigger complaints than that, for sure. I guess overall with May, one other thing too is just like it's a striking comparison of the quarterback performances, right? You have a second year quarterback in what, like a fifth, 6 year quarterback,
Seventh,
seventh
seventh
year
year.
quarterback in his third playoff game. And I would have guessed that the second year player was the one in his seventh year in his third playoff game. So there was
I
poise, there was patience.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, he's not a playoff loser. Like he's not a playoff choker like Justin Herbert.
Yeah, and he's improved as in areas we've talked about before that, like Herbert got some tunnel vision downfield. Herbert was staring at the rush instead of looking downfield at open
Herbert
targets.
missed some open receivers.
He did. And it's hard when you're playing behind a line like that, but you know,
Like we'll give the defense their cherries or whatever that phrase is, but like they got lucky. Like, I mean Herbert didn't make plays that were there.
yeah, and they took advantage. Listen, the credit to the Patriots is they took advantage of a matchup, which is that offensive line, and they put Herbert on the run. But Herbert, like to your point, didn't do himself any favors or his team any favors in response. So, as far as quarterback play, your quarterback wasn't perfect, but he was the better quarterback in that game against a high caliber one. So, as long as he improves on some of the carelessness and some of the erratic throws in this next game, you're going to be in an even better spot for it.
Okay, listen, I love to see it. I mean, please. I mean, listen. Look,
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about the Texans defense in a bit, but we are gonna need a listen. We're gonna need an all time game for Drake play. Like this is when heroes are born in war, and I think we're gonna go to war this week.
Yeah,
Gonna
no, and two guys who are going to have to be war ready in a way that I don't think they were in this game are the guys on the left side of the offensive line, the two rookies who were not good enough.
Oh yeah, they were not. They were getting bull rushed to hell and back.
Yeah, and
Those
it
are the
wasn't like
stunts.
yeah, it was stunts which have given them trouble all the way back to the preseason. There was
I
that
remember that.
preseason game where they got toasted on a couple of them. So, it wasn't like an abject failure, total disaster, but there were too
Sure.
many plays where they got beat. And with Drake May's inability to hold on to the ball in some of those instances, it's even more pronounced. And so,
Yeah, exactly.
Will Campbell, that's an issue he struggled with in college. It's why a lot of people, myself included, thought he might ultimately be best at guard, is because when he's out on an island on that left side, power rush can put him on skates a little bit. Now, he has an ability typically to anchor and reposition himself just short of collapsing into the quarterback. But the fact that he gets pushed that far back is a problem. And at this level, the pass rushers are so much better at shedding your block than they are at the college level that I don't know you can make a living playing like that and giving up that much ground. He's going to have to do better if they want to win this game because power rush is going to be another problem this week, just like it was last week. And I thought Jared Wilson was maybe worse than Will Campbell, frankly, in this game. So both of them have to step up.
God, I hope they do. I really don't want to see. I'm getting flashbacks to like Josh Allen playing that Houston's front four, and that was
The right
no.
side of the offensive line was good. Onwenu was fine. Moses was great. He was their best offensive
Why
lineman,
is
I thought.
Onwenu
So
a right guard, not a left guard? Is that just like a thing?
I don't know if there's a particular reason. I know, he was playing more. I think he was just situated on the right side by virtue of need originally. Then when he went to tackle, it was right tackle, not left tackle. He's not built like a left tackle. And so sliding him between right guard and right tackle is more natural than going from left guard to right tackle to right guard. He has played both guard spots, I think, more so early in his career at left, but he's settled into that right side. And then when someone gets good at their job, you just sort of leave them.
Just leave him there. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. So yeah. Speaking of offensive line, I guess not really. Speaking of the offensive line, the rush. Our team. We learned how to run the ball. Can you believe it,
Yeah,
Dave?
I
All
mean,
season we've been waiting.
yeah, it was sort of typical Patriots run game though, in that, the success rate was a little bit lower than their average for the season. So it was helter
Really? It
skelter. It
didn't
was
it
it
didn't
was
feel that way.
Yeah, no, and I think part of that is because it can't be discounted what Stevenson has meant to this team. The way he's running, 53 rushing yards, 75 receiving yards. He's become a dual threat weapon for them in the pass and the
Yeah,
run. And it was situationally, again, situational running I thought was good. And that's why it maybe felt better than it was
yeah.
because when they needed it, they were able to get it, but it wasn't as
The
sustained.
right. Ramondre James White Stevenson?
Yeah, yeah.
Kinda.
Who saw that coming, you know? Um,
Not me.
and they got a little pass happy in the second half. It didn't kill them, but I did think they got a little pass happy in the second half. And Henderson, what a block on that Hunter Henry touchdown
Yeah.
pass. That's what we've been looking for. That's what he was doing in college, leveling guys
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah. That was
and
great.
creating opportunity. So,
Spun him around like a video game enemy, like, woo.
yeah, I think
No, and then
another,
that layered throw from Drake May right after. Oh,
yeah, what a
oh,
whole
throw
shot
of the
just right
game.
over the defender. I mean,
Right over
a
Derwin
beautiful
James's
throw.
outstretched utile hand.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was May at his best on a throw like that. And that was where I was at the game, and it was really tight. 9-3, the feeling was tight. The vibes were on edge. And then that touchdown was like the levees had broken, the dam was broken, and it was a party after that touchdown because it felt like finally you'd broken through there. There was a lot of talk leading up to this game about Jumbo playing with Thayer Mumford in there and trying to get the Chargers to play more base defense, which they were successful in doing, and might be part of the reason why the run game didn't have the success rate that you'd like, is because the Chargers countered by playing more base. But then, as we talk about with Josh McDaniels as a counterpuncher, he counterpunchered by throwing out of jumbo. And you saw that with that Henry touchdown, the 42-yard catch by Kayshon Boutte, I think, was out of that jumbo
Yeah,
formation.
they've done that before too.
The Chargers, they seem to focus on Diggs, so Diggs was not an effective player in this game, but I think that was by design. He's had these games and then he's bounced back. So let's hope that we catch the bounce back this week.
Yeah, or listen, at the end of the day, if they're putting all their attention on Diggs, fine. We got Kayshon Boutte and Efton Chiss, Kyle Williams.
Yes. And they did play more. Chargers did play more man. We thought they might play more man. It was about 10% more than they normally do. But ultimately, like I said before, you scored under 21 points and won. You lost the turnover battle and won. And so you had to have been playing complementary football, which we'll touch on with this defensive
I
performance.
think that brings us very naturally to
Yeah.
the real unit that won this game for us,
Yeah. I
the
mean,
defense.
I don't know how it felt for you, but it certainly felt to me like this was the defense carrying them to victory in a way we have not seen all year. Even when they were humming at their best, I don't think they really carried them throughout a game like we saw on Sunday.
We just haven't seen those. We have not seen them keep a team to 3 points. At least a
Yeah.
good team, like a good Chargers offense.
And that goal line stand to start the
Oh,
game, I think
that
really set
goal.
the tone for the night.
I had to change my pants after that.
It set the tone for
So
them.
much so much fluid.
Yeah, it set the tone for the building. I mean, the building was fired up after
Oh,
that.
you were there. I forgot you were there. Oh, that must have been
Yeah. And so,
amazing.
like, it was an electric way to start a game because you immediately think, like, oh, fuck, here we go. 7-0 off the bat, right off the rip, you know, and they stop them. And they don't take the points, which was a little crazy too, that
That was
early in the
wild.
game.
Greg
Not a
Roman, baby.
well-coached game by Greg Roman or Jim Harbaugh. Wasn't impressed by either of them. But, third down as well, third down dominance by the Patriots defense. Chargers were 1 for 10 on third down.
Oof.
So, it was a combination of things that this defense did to the Chargers that really threw them off. One was the pressure, extremely high rate of pressure in this game, obviously taking advantage of that terrible offensive line. In typical Patriots fashion, though, rushing four, not very effective. About a 25% pressure rate, which was good for sixth out of the 12 teams that played last week. But when the Patriots blitz, they have been effective, and they were very
Kerr's been
effective in this game.
spinning up some blitzes. I mean, God, if we can just get like a good edge rusher in the draft,
I know.
someone who actually makes our four-man rush like a scary rush would be
Yeah,
huge. I mean, listen, we just got a guy off the Texans. That could be
yeah,
something.
And well, I mean, part of it too is you're not really getting anything out of Harold Landry, and I don't think you can count on him the rest of the way. He played 26 snaps in this game, just a handful in the fourth quarter. The knee is obviously not right, and so
Yeah.
that's a concern with rushing four. Is just like who's that second guy? It might end up being Jennings in this game or in future games more so than
Or that
Landry,
guy
just
we
depending
just
on the
picked up
need.
from the Texans.
Sure, and I think that's a depth move as well, just to buoy that unit. But
Scouting mode.
yeah, I guess. I mean, listen, this
Oh,
is
we're
not.
good. We're real. Our personnel's really good, so we just play basic defense.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of. We'll touch on their defense, but there's not a lot of smoke and mirrors to have to uncover. And so,
No,
I don't know. You know, everybody loves it's like, oh, it's the Belichick CIA Intel type signing, but I really think it has more to do with Harold Landry than it does
he's a guy
Intel,
we looked at earlier in the offseason.
and has been productive in the past. But the 47% pressure rate with the blitz was good for third out of the 12 teams that played this week. So you were really effective there. Uh, Williams had 2 sacks, 3 pressures. The combination of him and Barmore, as we talked about last week, loosening each other up. Barmore had 3 pressures too. And Chasen I thought he was the best on the defensive line in this game. He was the best player. Two sacks himself. And did you watch the mic'd up with Mike Vrabel and Drake May from this? There was a tiny little nugget that I found very interesting in regards to conversations we've had on this podcast numerous weeks. And there's a clip of Mike Vrabel talking to Kayla Von Chason where he talks about, hey, listen, if you're going to shoot inside, that's fine. Just get there. And so we always talk about him shooting inside and leaving the edge liable. And it was interesting to hear them actually address it. You know, obviously they know it's a thing. If we know it's a thing, they know it's a thing.
Well,
But
yeah,
to hear Vrabel's perspective on it, that he's okay with it provided you get home, was interesting. I don't know if I totally agree with it, all the time,
yeah,
but
right.
he got his player
Uh,
going in the spot. So
yeah,
the pass rush was great.
Vrabel, this
Jennings,
bloodied Vrabel, fucking that was awesome.
big dogs come out in January, and
Big
they did
dogs
for
come
the
out
Pats.
January, Dave.
Yep. Jennings had a sack. Marcus Jones had a sack. There was a wrinkle in this game. Was the Marcus Jones blitz? I thought was really he was really affected Herbert. His speed. He hit him real good one time.
Right in the quad, dude, just killed him. I think that hurt him. I think that affected him the rest of the game. You ever been hit in the quad, dude? It hurts. It
Yeah,
hurts for a long time.
I agree with you. I think it did affect him, and to be able to weaponize a player with that sort of athleticism in a way that you haven't really done so this year was a cool wrinkle. And part of the reason why they were able to do that was they were in dime personnel, which is 6 defensive backs, more than they have been, second most they've been all season. And so they had Del Pettis out there as a sixth defensive back, which freed up Marcus Jones to do some of that blitzing. But the big wrinkle that people are talking about is what they did with their coverage. And there's the Bob Spillane quote about how they told him they didn't know what the Patriots were running. I
Yeah.
don't think yeah, it was a lot of disguise is what it was. And they don't do a lot of disguise. For one, they played what you might call cat coverage, which is I got that cat, you got that cat, and we stay with them for the game. Typically, we see like Gonzalez, for instance, stay on one side of the field, no matter who's over there. That's his side in this scheme. Usually, on first and second downs, he was primarily covering Quentin Johnston, but on third down, he was covering Keenan Allen. So he was moving around the field. Marcus Jones was staying with Lad McConkey, moving around the field. And so the defense, I think, was under the impression a lot of the time that the Patriots were playing man as opposed to their typical zone. Might have been an illusion more than anything. Even when the Chargers were going in motion, we talk about how a tell with motion is whether the defender follows his guy or the defense shifts man versus zone. And they would follow as if it were man. And then the ball would snap and they'd drop into their zones. And that
That's
affected
crazy.
Herbert's. Yeah, it was great. And it affected Herbert's ability to see what was downfield in combination with the rush from such a porous offensive line. It was a great sort of combo
Do you
tactics.
think they dialed that up for Herbert, or do you think they've just been saving it for the postseason?
That's so I'm interested to see whether that continues or whether that travels into future rounds or whether, to your point, that was a byproduct of the offensive line they were playing. I think they knew they could get away with some of these exotic looks and some of these aggressive blitz packages because that offensive line was so bad, there wasn't going to be enough time for Herbert to diagnose. I think Herbert's a better quarterback than Stroud. I just don't know if the difference in the offensive line is going to be enough. I mean, the Patriots blitz, that's what they do when they generate pressure. So we're going to see it regardless. I just don't know if you're going to see that combination of wrinkles, but I'm hopeful. I like the the versatility can only serve to help you, in my opinion. I would imagine you agree.
It
Like the
looked
ability,
listen, it looked like it reminded me of look it was like watching the Vikings. It was awesome.
yeah, it was
Brian
like a
Flores.
face melting level of pressure
Yeah,
for the Patriots.
it's very enjoyable. I like the part where we almost killed him.
And the other thing with the coverage too was what was different, I think, is we're used to watching them play zone and dropping into sort of this deep zone where they give a lot of space between the pass catcher and the defensive back. They were up pretty tight in this game. They were kind of clamped on these guys in a sticky sort of zone coverage,
Yeah.
which muddles the look more.
Feels like a game where I mean, we really saw Christian Gonzalez, we questioned him quite a bit in the last couple episodes, and he showed up and showed us why he's like, "I wanna get paid."
Yeah, I mean, all the credit in the world to him. He was fantastic in this game. When he was lined up against Quentin Johnston, what I saw for numbers was 3 on 13 reps, no catches, 26 coverage reps for Gonzalez in this game, 0 receptions surrendered, moving around the field, covering multiple defenders. He was electric in this game. He was awesome. The other player that really popped to me in the secondary, and I texted you live at the game about this, was Craig Woodson, who we've also given a hard time, and rightfully so, here and
Appropriately
there.
so.
Yeah. When Craig Woodson knows where he's supposed to be, which is part of being a young player, he has a nose for the ball. I think he's a playmaker. He's aggressive, and that all shined in this game. He made a couple of plays there. He's flying around. Similar, Christian Ellis was flying around in this game. He was a spy on Herbert at times. It was nice to have Bob Spillane back. I think we felt his presence up front as
Yeah, having
well.
Spillane back is huge. I mean, just listen, having our guys back, having Tonga back
Yeah.
upcoming in this upcoming game is gonna be amazing, huge for us.
Yep.
Without a doubt, dude.
One thing I was surprised the Chargers didn't do, and what you would have seen Josh McDaniels do, as we've seen countless times, is when Charles Woods came into the game for Carlton Davis, and then for
Didn't go
Christian
after him.
Gonzalez later, they didn't go after him. And like this one example off the top of my head, Jeremy Lane, Super Bowl 49, slot corner for the Seahawks, breaks his elbow or whatever in the first drive. They spent the rest of that game putting that backup slot corner in a torture chamber with Edelman and Amendola. Like that's what the Patriots would have done. They would have targeted the shit out of Charles Woods.
Greg Roman's a very good offensive coordinator.
No, and he's been known as more of like the gimmicky run
The run
first
guy,
sort
he's
of
the
guy.
run
Right.
guy.
He's the Kaepernick offensive coordinator. He's the Lamar Jackson early career offensive coordinator. He's the guy you bring in to insulate a running quarterback from growing too fast, in my opinion. And then when the problem comes is when you
Crazy.
want your quarterback to be developed and to play between the tackles
That's
and
a
to
crazy
attack through
take,
the air.
Dave. That's a
No,
crazy take.
it's not. It is what it is. It's the run version of Cliff Kingsbury. You bring Cliff
Yeah,
Kingsbury in to insulate Jaden Daniels from a more advanced passing attack. It's a gimmicky air raid offense.
yeah.
But when NFL caliber defenses catch on to the tricks, you can't do enough to beat them. And that's Greg Roman with the run game, to me, is analogous to Cliff Kingsbury in the passing game. All those Cardinals teams, they'd get solved by November because what you can do is not enough to beat an NFL defense. And so that's a parallel in my opinion. But all to say, like, it really affected Herbert. It was his third longest time to throw in his career. So he was clearly back there, not sure what to do with the ball, holding on to the ball too long, patting it, running for his life. Spectacular defensive performance, spectacular game plan. It got to the point where I know being there, it was like the offense has to bail the defense out at some point. This is not like tenable for much longer. It's 9-3. They've stifled this team. You have to break through. They did, but it's remarkable that that was the kind of game we found ourselves in.
I think in the end, I think it was just a very impressive game to watch. I'm trying to think, any closing thoughts on the Chargers?
Just that I think the type of test this was the best thing that could happen to you before what's coming on Sunday.
I agree.
I think it shapes you up nicely to play this kind of physical team.
All right, let's talk about this terrifying physical team.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with the offense. And just to note, there's a lot of familiarity from the offensive staff over there. Their offensive coordinator is Nick Caley. He was your tight ends coach for a while. He also turned you down 2 years ago when you hired Alex Van Pelt.
Yes, he did. I remember.
Cole Popovich is an offensive line coach. He was here as an assistant. Ben McDaniels is Josh McDaniels' brother, so obviously he's familiar with Josh McDaniels. And then there's Jerry Shapinski, who is an offensive assistant who was under McDaniels both here and Vegas. And so I would say Kaylee, Shapinski, and obviously Ben McDaniels have intimate understandings of how Josh McDaniels operates. And we could touch on that more when we talk about the Texans defense. I think it's worth noting. It's not a huge deal, but it's worth noting. To me, again, this is another week, and it's sort of a byproduct of playoff football. It starts with stopping the run. That's my opinion on this, attacking this Texans offense. They're a middle of the pack running team generally throughout the regular season, right? But what buoyed them against Pittsburgh was they were able to run. I thought they were
They
able
were.
to.
Woody Marks had a decent.
He did, and it felt like there wasn't a ton of resistance. Like they were able to stay on schedule, to eat some clock, to move down the field in what is a close game where those things were needed, and it allowed them to consistently sustain drives. So I would start there because then you can really pressure the quarterback. And I
Listen,
think
I'm a Woody Marks fantasy owner. He's not a very good running back. That's not a very good running team. Like that is a team that struggled all year to run the ball.
yeah, I would say it's not dynamic. Like he's good, but it's not dynamic. It's not a run game that you go in there afraid of beating you as like the key of their game. The reason I think it's the key is because the run game bails out the quarterback, who I think if you pressure, you can take advantage of. This is another quarterback who can get rattled. I think if you have pressure with coverage, with disguise, you have a chance to throw him off. Particularly, I would want to see pressure on the defensive interior, him stepping up. I think Stroud is at his best when he can step up and deliver the ball, step up into the pocket, deliver the ball deep. He does it off the 1 foot all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that does align with our strength, right? Our strongest part of the line is the interior. Barmore, Milton.
Yes, I agree. And you're going to see, I think you're going to see some blitzing up the middle potentially from your Spillanes, from your Christian Ellis's.
Yeah,
And so,
I would like, but what I'd really like to see, I'd like to see a couple of turnovers and maybe like a defensive touchdown. I think that might be end
sure.
up being the deciding factor in this game because I think, listen, I'd love to hold them to 3 points.
Yeah, this is a game where points will be at a premium. So any active damage you can do with your defense is a bonus, and it will go a long way towards winning this game. I completely agree with you. I would love to see turnovers here, and I want them to. The offensive line is like we said before. It's not a world beater. It's pretty average. It's pretty mid, but it's not the Chargers level of bad. So it'll be interesting to see how that pressure translates week to week with this opponent. And you just want to minimize big plays because big plays bail out bad teams who aren't getting drives going. And so I don't want to bail them out with some 30-yard bomb because you miscommunicated again and blew a coverage. So it's like that's not something you draw up X's and O's, but it's something you got to avoid. It's just
Yeah,
and they're not an explosive play generating team usually, so keep it that way.
yeah. Listen, I mean, they can score, right? CJ Stroud is a good quarterback. I think Nico Collins likely being out is a godsend for us.
Yeah, it's
Godsend.
massive. It's massive. It's massive. And I think it's
That
additionally
horseshoe
big.
bit is still lodged in his ass.
Yep, no doubt. I mean, you've struggled at times with bigger bodied receivers. Like I know Drake London obviously is the first example that pops into my head, really gave the Patriots issues this year. And so, Collins is a height, weight, speed kind of guy. And so to not have him out there, he's a dynamic threat, really, really hurts that offense for sure.
All right.
Should we get to the main event?
Yeah,
The
let's
title
do it.
fight?
The
This
title fight.
defense against this
Yeah.
offense?
God damn
All
it.
right. So I'll just touch on the connections. This is where I think you're going to have to see Josh McDaniels draw some things up, right? These guys know intimately, like, this is what Josh does with this. This is where what position he wants to put his quarterback when this happens. And so they're going to be prepared. That's for sure. And so he's going to have to draw some things up. Beyond that, I mean, there's more tape on Josh McDaniels' offense than just about anybody else currently in the league. So it's not
As
going
a
to be the
credit
difference
to him.
maker. Right. Yeah, he's been around long enough. You do the film study, you're going to know his tendencies. So that's the extent of what I think that matters. But, we'll start by talking about the defensive scheme. This D'Amico Ryan's defense schematically is a progeny of the Robert Saleh San Francisco 49ers defense. D'Amico Ryan's came up under Saleh. He inherited that defense from him when Saleh went to the Jets. It is a base cover three zone defense, a lot of nickel. They like to utilize what's called the wide nine technique, which is where they have their edge players lined up in a nine technique wide of the offensive tackles. They funnel things inside. They
They
swarm
like
to the
to really
ball.
crash in on the edges
Yes, they like to funnel everything in sort of is the way they
to
play.
the
They keep
big
things in.
bodies in the middle.
Yes, and it is a sort of that is a progeny of the old Seattle Legion of Boom cover three defense because Saleh came up under Dan Quinn, who was the defensive coordinator for Pete Carroll. So you can sort of see the historical evolution of this defensive scheme.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. I love sort of diving into like the coordinator coach backgrounds to see like where their techniques come from, and then it allows you to sort of have analogs to analyze what they do well and what they don't do well. But as far as rankings, I mean, listen, number one in yards per game. They're number one in overall defensive DVOA, which takes into account strength of schedule. Number one against the pass, number two against the run. By EPA per pass, they're one. By EPA per rush, they're 10. They are, their pressure rate is actually surprising. It's not as high as you'd think it would be, given how when you watch them in the games, they're just constantly, it feels like, pressuring the quarterback, but it's actually pretty middle of the pack. The thing that's effective about it is they don't blitz. And
It's
so,
four. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're doing it with four people.
right, they're a bottom five blitz rate team, similar to the Chargers, in that they get their pressure without overcommitting to the pass rush. And so that's where they're effective. The way that they're built, they run almost exclusively, and I would say exclusively in that it's about 85% of the time from a 4-2-5, which is four defensive linemen, two linebackers, and then five defensive back. Base is nickel for them. They play nickel all the time. You have your four down linemen, the two interior guys, including a guy like Sheldon Rankins, who's a good professional football player, really solid. On the outside, you have Will Anderson, who is one of my handful of favorite players in the entire league. Loved him since he was at Alabama, and I would say he is a top 3 to 5 pass rusher in the NFL, and he ain't five. Opposite him is Danielle Hunter, who is a second team All Pro. Anderson's first team this year. Hunter is second team, and he was great with the Vikings as well.
Still at
You have
12 sacks.
you have the best. It's the best edge
Duo.
tandem in the league for sure. Josh McDaniels called it that. It is that. I don't think it's highly disputable. You have two linebackers, including Aziz Al-Shair, who I love as a football player. This is a throwback kind of player in that he plays violently, aggressively. He's fast. He's always around the ball. You're going to see him. You're going to hate him. He's one of those guys you absolutely love him if he's on your team, and you think he's a dirty piece of shit if he's on the other team. And so I respect the hell out of the way he plays, and he's going to be flying around in this game.
God
And then they
fucking
had,
damn it.
yeah, and then they have their five defensive backs. They have, of note, there are four that I really like. You have your two outside guys who, Derek Stingley, first team All Pro, Kamari Lassiter, who could just as easily be an All Pro. He's that good. They have Kalen Bullock at deep safety. He also is a Pro Bowl caliber safety. And then they have one of my favorite players, the way they use him is Jalen Petrie, who is sort of a hybrid. He plays the star position. He's like this hybrid nickel corner safety. If you want an analog or someone who played similarly, think Patrick Chung in the Belichick defense. He is sort of that versatile hybrid safety that plays in the middle, who can rush, who can cover passes, can play against bigger bodies, smaller bodies. And so they're loaded across the board. And what stands out to me about them is not just that their number one guys are good, but as I just sort of ran through, their number two guys are really good in a lot of spots.
Good. They're just good. Just a really good, just a lot of talent on that defense. A lot of credit to Nick Caserio for putting that together.
Yeah, Lassiter, Petrie, Bullock, Hunter, those guys are not their number ones necessarily. You could interchange the safeties, but they would be number
They
ones on a
would be the number
lot of
ones on the
teams.
Patriots. Yeah.
On a lot of teams. And so they're smart, they're talented, and they are disciplined. What do they like to do? They like to get to you with four, as you said earlier. They have their four pass rusher, their front four, and they pin their ears back a lot of the time, and they just penetrate. That's their job. And then they keep everything in coverage in front of them so that they can swarm. They literally call their defensive emphasis swarm. It's an acronym. I don't know what it stands for, but that's the
Very, it's in a
idea.
very they play a very aggressive style of football because they know they can get to you with four.
Exactly. It allows them to do that in the back end. And they will play more man coverage than the Chargers. So they will mix that in. They won't always actually go after the quarterback, too. So like when they play Patrick Mahomes, they are when I say that they're disciplined, they're disciplined. They went more with a contain against a guy like Patrick Mahomes rather than a straight pin your ears back rush. And I think that's something to watch against Drake May. They're going to be ready for him as a rusher. They're going to have to spy him. This game may come down to Drake May off schedule on his feet, running the ball. And they know that. This is not Aaron Rodgers. And so when you watch them play Pittsburgh, it's, full steam ahead, bombs away, because that's a statue. He's not going anywhere.
And he's not going to
It's
throw it far either.
no, it's these floating balls, or like, or you're covering Calvin Austin down the field. It's not, there are reasons why beyond just Rodgers, but the fact that he was not a mobile threat, I don't think it's going to look exactly the same in their approach against Drake May. They can't afford to be all full bore ahead, because they're going to leave that space that they leave behind them for them to swarm is way more dangerous when you're playing a quarterback like Drake May, who can burn you with his feet and is willing to take a profit. And so that's their front.
I'll tell you what I want to see more of from the Patriots against this. I want to see more designed quarterback runs. That's a place that the Texans have struggled. We've seen them. Like when they do get beat, I think that the guys don't know what to do. Like we
Yeah,
gotta.
and
I think this is the game where you go all out. You try to use everything we got. Everything we got.
you have to empty the
They're all
bag
we
in this
need.
game. And like that is a way to take advantage of their pass rush. When you get too far upfield, like I said, you leave a lot of open room. And a quarterback like Drake May can kill you if you do that. And so, what does it look like on the back end? They play primarily cover three, zone, single high safety zone. They will mix in cover one, like a single high safety man look. And they play a lot of cover four, which is sort of that quarters deep zone that the Chargers play. Over 50% of their snaps are either in cover three or cover four in zone. Um, you know, they tend to just do what they do. But that said,
They
don't
do it
think they
really
can
good.
just, they do, but they can't just sit in cover three and cover four and risk getting picked apart by this quarterback. And I say all of this with like the caveat of if he survives the rush, right? If you don't
Right.
survive
Big
the
if.
four-man rush, none of this matters. None of your ability to take advantage of them is going to come to pass because you're going to be on the ground. But provided you can survive that rush, I think that, May has shown he's willing to dink and dunk.
This is gonna be a big McDaniels game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I think you're going to see more man than you saw against the Chargers because they play more, because they're I think they're just a smarter team. They know they have to play it to beat you. Some adjustments you might see from them is just like rotating. It's all the late pre-snap stuff, and we've seen other teams do it. The team that comes to mind the most to me is the Cincinnati Bengals, because
Yeah.
Drake really struggled to get going in that game, and they don't play the same defense, but they play a relatively similar defense in terms of front and coverage deployment. I
Okay.
think you
Don't
you
love
might
that.
see, yeah, you might see like, oh, it looks like it's cover three, but the safety bounces back up and now it's cover four right before the snap. Or it looks like it's cover four, the safety drops down. Is it man, is it zone? It's single high now at the last second. And then, they don't blitz a lot, like I said, but if they're going to, I would watch out for Jalen Petrie off the out of the slot, because they send him. He's so versatile. They send him more than they send their like second level linebackers if they're going to
Hmm.
blitz. And it's similar to, and why I think this as well is because like that Bengals game we marked on Geno Stone, how they used Geno Stone, the safety in that game. They'd bring him down to the line of scrimmage at the last second, and it got Drake May on a pass rush once, and it got them on the run. It led to him calling a timeout in the red zone because he wasn't sure of how to call the blocking scheme, the protection scheme when he came up that late. So I think you might
I
see
hate I
some of
hate it.
that. They don't normally do it, but I wouldn't be shocked if you see that wrinkle.
Okay. Well, fuck me. Well, now my jimmies are rustled.
But listen, I do think you can win.
How do we
I
beat
think
them? How do we beat them?
this is the recipe for beating them. You got to survive the front four. Like I said, it is what it is. If they get to you, if they beat this offensive line, if May puts the ball on the ground, you're going to lose. Those are the breaks. They're very effective. If you can't do it, you're not going to beat them. But provided you survive the rush, I would like to establish the run, because their run defense is good. It's not the greatest of all time. They are, like I said, by EPA per rush, it's 10th. They're a good run defense, but they're not the 85 Bears.
Right. They're not the
Get
80.
them. No, I don't even know. I don't know if they're the 2015 Broncos, but they're very good. They're very good. The third thing would be to get the ball out quickly and just take the profit, right? They're playing these zones. You got something short. You got your check down. Just take it. Get the positive yardage. Keep the drive moving.
Yeah, you're
Is
right.
the third. The fourth thing
Okay.
is when they. No, I'm not done. We're gonna beat this team. All right, and this is how we're gonna do it. The fourth thing, you got to attack the seams when they're in their zones. Like that's the area of the field where that kind of coverage is susceptible. Your tight end, hopefully you get more out of Diggs here in the middle of the field when they're in zone. You attack the seams, and you wait to take your shot until they're in man. When they play cover one, they do have a tendency to surrender the explosive play. In terms of the teams in the playoffs, they give up the most explosive plays, which are defined as 15-yard plus passes or 10 plus yard runs. I believe that's it. It could be the inverse on yardage. Either way,
because they
in
play
man
so
coverage,
aggressively.
yeah, at man coverage, they'll give up those big plays. And so that's where you take your shot. When you see them in single high safety looks, and they're going to play man coverage, then you take your shot. And there were deep shots there for Pittsburgh, whether it was in cover one, cover three, cover four. Rodgers had opportunities, whether it was Metcalf dropping a pass deep or it was some of the throws to Calvin Austin. Like those opportunities will be there deep. You just don't want to do it when it's not there, trying to force it, because this team will capitalize on mistakes. And then the last thing is just I would like to get play action going because of that aggressive pursuit of the quarterback. You can run. If you can fake the run, you draw them upfield, you hit them where they ain't. And that's what this whole game is going to be. Hit them where they ain't. If they're in zone, you hit them in the seams. If they're in man, you try to go deep. If they're going to aggressively rush, you hit them in intermediate and short. And so it's all about counter punching what they do. Protect the ball, take a profit, seize on your shots both on the air and scrambling. People say,
Let's go fucking win this game.
yeah, people say the Patriots haven't played a defense like this. And that's true, they haven't. But you know what? The Texans also kind of haven't played a passing offense like this yet. They
That's
played the
true.
Rams in week
There we
one.
go.
And you can throw out week one way or the other, right? We've done that for the Patriots, but they lost to the Rams in week one. They kept them to a low score, it's 14-6, but they lost that game. They played Seattle in week 6. Seattle is probably the second best deep passing team, and they have Sam Darnold. They don't have Drake May at quarterback, and they lost that
31,
game.
right? They did. 30 plus points. We can
Yeah,
score against this team.
27 or 31, something like that. I mean, Smith and Jigba went off in that game, was the big sort of statistical outlier there. So I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm picking the Patriots in this game.
I mean, I'm obviously also picking the Patriots. I think we either win by like 1 point or we win by like 15 points, and there's no in between.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a close one. It's going to be like a 3-4 point game, probably.
Probably.
I will say one thing that scares me. No, go ahead.
Yeah. Taking the over or the under?
I don't know what I don't.
41?
But under.
Yeah,
this is like a 20-17 kind of game.
It's a 20-17 game.
But that's what it feels like. The one thing that scares me that's completely out of your control is the weather.
Yeah.
I think if there's bad weather, that hurts you more than it hurts them.
Because we're a downfield passing game.
Because you're a downfield passing team, and the quarterback has struggled to hold onto the ball under pressure in good conditions.
He's a North Carolina kid who's never really played in the snow. Like, I think Stroud has more cold weather experience. Like, people are really excited on Twitter right now about like, does Stroud have baby hands or May?
May has little baby hands.
Maybe has little baby hands.
At least relative to
sure
the measurements for elite draft prospects.
He has baby hands the way like Will Campbell has
short arms. Yeah.
Okay.
Normal person, he's probably got normal fine hands, but he doesn't have like Trump hands. But like,
right.
Like that's an issue with ball security, and like I've said, we've seen it when conditions are good, and so if conditions are bad, with a downfield
slow down the pass rush though.
That's the flip side, is like that could slow down their pass rush. That could help. But to me, like if I'm looking at the offenses, at least, like you're banking on Stroud not playing well if you're winning this game.
Yeah, 100%.
That's kind of a given if you're going to win this game.
Yeah.
You need Drake May to not play like shit to have a chance to win this game. And so I think the weather only serves to hurt you. Obviously, you can't control it. I mean, just as a fan, when it comes to variables, I would love for us to experiment with Drake May in the snow in November.
Not today, though. Not this
not
weekend.
On Sunday,
not this weekend.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Something of note that could be a variable that puts the Houston Texans over the top.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Okay. I have to go I have to go to this date, but all I have is on my mind is you, Dave.
Hey, that's great.
Fuck the Jets.
Fuck the Jets. The second best quarterback in the draft decided he'd go back to school instead of get drafted by the Jets. It's not even financially like the smartest move, but he just didn't want to risk going to the Jets without as much experience as he thinks he needs.
I would argue that's a very financially smart move, is to not go to the Jets.
Yeah, Yeah, people are like talking about dollars and cents, and it's like, well, what about the long-term trajectory of his career if he can avoid going to that fucking hellhole?
what about your mental health?
Yeah. Go back to
Yeah,
school, get those reps you need. Don't get thrown into the fire by the dog shit franchise. So
the dog shit
fuck
bitches.
the Jets, fuck the Texans, go Pats.
Peace. Go Pats.